Hey guys, we're filming, right?
We're filming, right?
Okay, we're
So
recording.
3, 2, 1. What is up, guys? Charlie
Yes.
here,
James
here. We're back for part 2 to Otaku's Waifu Guide to 3DS.
Hey.
I know you guys are anxious about it.
Okay.
But we're continuing on today. Do notice again, like this is not the final list. Like the list will be constantly updated, so there'll be like part 3, part 4 coming from here and then. But this is all we have for now.
That being said, we do have kind of a short list for today,
Yeah, but that means we can shit talk about it more.
I guess.
Yeah.
Because
So-
we quite rushed the last part.
Last time we finished talking about strategy RTS as well as the developing. Then the main title, something like Fire Emblem, causing a huge controversy. Then you have Love Plus, one of the godly titles that brought Nintendo DS to its great glory, and then kind of bring 3DS to its down glory as well. And this time,
First time I heard that term.
well, the game on the 3DS came out, but then of course there was a lot of bugs to begin with at the start. So
Love Plus.
no, yeah, it's for Love Plus.
I didn't know there were bugs on that.
There were a lot of bugs, so they had to release a huge ass patch, and then things happened from here and then, and yeah.
Okay.
But nevertheless, let's cut to the chase. And
What do we
get
have
to
for today?
today's topic? Today we have something known as simulation
Simulation.
genre.
So technically, shouldn't Love Plus be part of this?
It's a different kind of simulation.
Okay. So
Love Plus is
what kind
more
of simulation are we
relationship.
talking about?
This simulation is more about you actually having a simulation of a second life or kind of thing, like you're actually doing things, whereas Love Plus it's actually a simulation. It's like a love simulation.
Oh, so it's like real world kind of simulation. So
This simulation is kind of like doing everyday work and all that stuff.
okay.
And
so like,
it's
what
for-
if you
it's
were
for
a farmer
people-
or something?
Yeah, something
right?
like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So for this whole genre, we have the
So would you say Cooking Mama is part of this?
Cooking Mom is part of this, but she's not waifu enough, so. But yeah, we have the Rune Factory or Harvest Moon genre by Natsume.
Oh, right, yeah, Harvest Moon.
Yeah, so Harvest Moon series was
Quite a classic, isn't it?
It's a huge classic coming in since the Super Nintendo days onto Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, GameCube. I don't think it was on PlayStation 2. It was on the PSP as another game. I can't remember what it's called, but they always have different names. Until the DS, they released the so-called Rune Factory series, which not only involves just farming anymore. You actually, do exploration, fight monsters, get more new weapons. And
Isn't
then
there the whole chasing your waifu as well in this kind of game?
chasing a waifu is already at the start.
Yeah,
But
it's
Rune
from the
Factory-
beginning in...
Rune Factory kind of like made it evolve beyond, like after you have a new kid, you can actually play as the kid.
Oh, okay. So you make babies in this game too.
Yeah, anyway. So
Okay.
we'll talk about like the whole Harvest Moon get-go thing. So Harvest Moon is more of the traditional Harvest Moon series, which I've heard Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon New Beginning. I don't have all of them because I don't really get that much time to play anyways. So but these games are more focused upon growing your own crops, tending to your animals. It's more about farm.
Yeah, okay.
And then
okay.
of course you have your bachelors and bachelorettes. So it's not for guys, it's also for girls.
Is there much story with these
There's
games?
a
I
lot
feel
of
like-
story.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like I said, it's like a second life. Then you do competitions, you go skirt chasing, and then you have babies, and then happy ending ever after. But really,
Hey.
really fun game if you would ask me. Like farming, tending, managing stuff, and then something like when you're bored, you can't find something to do. This is a pretty cool game. And then afterwards, of course, they released the Rune Factory series. Unfortunately, the developer bankrupt, so this might be the last ones. But
What's the difference between Rune Factory and Harvest Moon?
I just told you.
What?
I literally just told you, like 1 minute ago.
Well, what? Like, I mean, clarify.
So Rune Factory is more focused upon on farming and simulation, whereas
Harvest Moon.
no,
is-
I mean
what?
Harvest Moon.
Harvest
Rune
Moon.
Factory is more focused on exploration at the same time as plot development. There's different kinds of plot.
You didn't tell me that.
I told you a bit.
Huh?
I also said unlike exploration, you fight monsters and all that
Oh,
stuff. Yeah, so basically there's a lot more exploration. In Rune Factory they all added like exploration, you can actually fight monsters, go through dungeons, create weapons. Of course there's bachelors and bachelorettes, and then you get your next generation, then your next generation can actually go skirt chasing again with the next generation of bachelors and bachelorettes.
But they went bankrupt from this?
Hmm?
They went bankrupt from this, or?
Well, the game went bankrupt because of other reasons, but not because of the game. The game actually had decent sales.
Yeah, I thought the game would be...
Alchemist was never really a fully funded developer to begin with, so it's not the game's fault, unfortunately. But the game itself, unfortunately, before it managed to come out in Europe or Australian countries, the company bankrupt. Hence why it was never a hard copy for Europeans or Australians. But if you're in the States or if you're in Japan, of course,
Probably
pick
can
up.
get one.
You can get Rune Factory 4. Rune Factory 1, 2, 3 is on the Nintendo DS, which we might talk about in our future video for the DS. But for now, Rune Factory 4 is also a great game. You can check it out. And yeah. Yeah.
What?
No.
You remember something?
Rune Factory 4 introduces female counterparts, so you can actually play as a female to go for your bachelors. That's right. But Rune Factory 1, 2, 3
Okay.
doesn't have that. Moving on, this is something similar, but it's not by the same developer. This is by Level 5, the creators of Professor Layton and Inazuma 11. And also the reason why I didn't mention Inazuma 11 is because I assume everyone should know about it, so it's not really Waifu.
I heard about the name, but I don't really know much about it.
It's a soccer game, but
Yeah,
but
okay,
moving
there we
on,
go.
Fantasy Life, different kind of thing. You play as a second character. It's kind of like Animal Crossing in a sense, but you play in 12 different jobs if I remember. So you can be like an alchemist, or you can be a knight, adventurer, cook, yada yada yada. But really interesting.
It's fantasy based, right?
It's fantasy based.
Sorry.
And
there's like
you
work and
show
shit.
around with
Yeah.
friends. You're supposed to play this game with a friend. Remember,
Oh, okay.
it's a show.
How many
game.
players can you play with?
You can play with like worldwide, at the same time you can play locally as well. So you can go, you can go raids, you can go have fun, you can do special quests and all that stuff. If you're a cook or if you're a mage, everyone has their own
Sounds a
specific
bit
stuff.
like an MMO, except more relaxed.
It's a relaxable. It's for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really interesting, and it's got a lot of positive reviews among adults and all that stuff as well. So yeah,
Suppose it's
short
quite a
game.
chill game.
Chill game. Now, on the next part, we have what we know as dungeon exploring, as we mentioned before in PlayStation Vita.
In Vita, yeah, we do have...
So this is dungeon
yeah,
crawling,
okay.
and yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So for the dungeon genre, we have something that's recently new to the edition. I haven't opened this, but this is Seventh Dragon Free.
Oh, when was it released? Like, just a while ago?
I think this year.
This year.
This
yeah,
year. It was recently released this year. But what I have here is 7 Dragon Free. 2020, I think. No, they don't even call it 2020, but this is called 7th Dragon Free, and it's a dungeon explorer. It's a trilogy. So the first 2 you can actually find on PlayStation Portable.
Yeah, okay.
But I do not think they were translated to English. Only the 3rd one is.
Only the 3rd one.
Yes. But I believe they are fan translations that you can check
Are
out.
there stories like sequential, so you have to go through the first ones to...
You don't have to,
understand it?
because it kind of recaps.
Yeah, okay, but no one likes recaps.
I don't know, but you don't really have to know the first 2 to play the 3rd one. But again, the whole plot story is about the world's in devastation. They're invaded by so-called dragons, and basically you're a team of so-called special forces that you assemble, and you have to go through by all means to save the world.
Okay.
But it's pretty cool.
Very-
All the maps
very
are
normal.
random. They're regenerated again and again and again. So every time you go back in, there's a new surprise waiting for you.
Okay, that's interesting, yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Different gameplay every time. It's good.
Something like that. The artist himself is also quite famous. So if you guys ever watch Kids Naiva or whatsoever, you will notice it's pretty similar. But yeah, it's 7th
Check it out.
Dragon. So yeah, Seventh Dragon.
Oh,
do
I
check
can
it out.
see it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can
It's
see
a
that.
really cool trilogy.
I can see that.
You can actually, it's a little bit of spoiler, but I don't know. In the second game, you can actually recruit Hatsune Miku as one of the playable characters.
Oh, sick!
I don't know about the third one, so
Does she run around with a leak and smack things?
I never played that far. So moving on from Seventh Dragon, we have a really popular series that a lot of fans might know about if you're actually a fan of dungeon crawling. We have the Etrian Odyssey series. Now this series, it's actually a really long time franchise that's been popular since the Nintendo DS days.
Since the DS days.
Yeah, because you're playing as a 4 adventurer traveling in the dungeons of Etrian. And trying to solve the mystery, and it's like you create your own story kind of thing. So it's really popular among dungeon crawl fans and role players and all that.
How do you determine your own story? Is it through like dialogue or how you play through the game?
You play through the game.
How you fight?
Not really. Like you play through the game, and then you go through the dungeon, and the most interesting about this game, right, is you have to draw your own map.
Ah, okay.
So your job in the game is to create a map of the whole Etrian, like the maze.
Okay.
And there you get your DS stars at the bottom, and you draw your map and all that stuff. And you can mark it where there's like huge monsters that you should get away from and all that stuff. So the goal of the protagonist is you have to draw the map.
Okay, so you're basically an explorer.
And you have your own.
Just want to navigate.
You have your own guild and all that stuff. So it was really interesting, really popular among fans. The first 3 were a great hit on the Nintendo DS until they released Etrian Odyssey IV on the 3DS, which was a few years ago. And recently they released Etrian Odyssey Untold 1 and 2 on the 3DS as well. But I don't have the second one, but what this is instead of just making your own story and all that stuff, they added their own plot into it. So they added like original characters and all that stuff that you can actually play as a normal RPG as well.
Okay.
So Untold the Millennium Girl was actually based off the first game, and the second one's based on the second one. So it's kind of like a remake of the first 2 games on the DS, but they added like new storylines and all that stuff you can explore in. So really interesting series. If you're a fan of dungeon crawler, you don't want to miss out.
That seems really good. If you can choose what kind of map just by drawing it.
Like you draw the whole map. That's the interesting part.
Yeah.
And lastly, we have the Atlas. It's Atlas again, but this is Atlas's Shin Megami Tensei series, or you want to call it Persona series, or whatever you want to call it. But you know what I'm talking about. So the first one is Soul Hackers. It's called Soul Hackers. Yeah, it's called Soul Hackers in English too. Okay. So Soul Hackers, again, it's based on the Shin Megami Tensei universe.
I had a brief look at it. It looks kind of like a VM.
It has a lot more story elements to it. It's a VM based kind of dungeon crawling game. So pretty damn interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty
What's the gameplay like?
Mystery, supernatural. Again, you recruit personas, you fight through the map, you try to uncover the mysteries that's happening. I don't want to spoil the story, because if I say anything about it, you could.
Yeah. Okay. Because pretty big story, I guess.
It's a pretty big story. But Soul Hackers, a really, really fun game. You have to check it out. And moving on, this is Persona Q. Don't mind the trader stickers at the bottom. But what this game is, it's basically a kind of like a side game or spin-off game created by Atlas, of course. It's focused on the characters from Persona 3 and Persona 4 together, and in the Etrian Odyssey fashion.
Okay.
Kind of
Wait.
thing, so.
In a Etrian, so kind of like these games.
It's kind of like Etrian Odyssey. It has the same
how
system.
So? In the sense that you make your own map kind of thing, or
It's a dungeon crawler.
It's a dungeon crawler.
It's
okay.
a dungeon crawler essentially. Has the same similar system, but they added the Persona system and this and that, and Persona storyline. So if you like this kind of stuff, check it out. Finally, now this is what we're going to conclude today. Like we said on the PS Vita, we call the if you don't play this game series, you won't be the cool kid at school, and you won't have any friends.
It's a series everyone should know.
It's a series that everyone should know and should play, and I'm telling you this because I want you to make some friends. Really.
Well, I've played this. I don't really enjoy it that much.
That's why I don't have friends.
It's okay. I don't need friends. Waifus.
Is the Monster Hunter series. This is what makes 3DS so popular.
Freaking
now.
Monhunt series.
Monhunt series is what Nintendo took away from Sony PlayStation. They took away Sony's pride and joy. And
So
now
Monhunt was originally on Sony.
it was on the Sony PlayStation Portable, PlayStation 2, until somehow when 3DS came out, they miraculously stole it from the PlayStation series.
PlayStation series. Yeah.
And then it's forever since been on 3DS.
What I'm surprised about though is that they went from the PSP to the DS, right? 3DS. And PSP has 2 joysticks, right? And when they went to the 3DS, it didn't have 2 joysticks.
That's why they released the accessory.
That's why they released the set next to it.
They released
They had an accessory.
and
Right.
an accessory. It's called the side pad. So you
Yeah,
can actually
so you have another
install the
joystick.
thing and you have a double joystick
Just for this thing.
just for this game. It was a really interesting experience as well. So of course you have the first game, which of course wins the Japan Game Awards 2011. You have Monster Hunter 3G, which came out around the same time when 3DS first came out. The game was a hit. Everyone's like, oh my god, you know, Monster Hunter. Finally a new one, as usual. And this time it's on the 3DS. Controls a bit more hard to press, I guess.
And the controls have always been absurd with Monhunt series.
Yeah, so they released an accessory which I don't have, unfortunately, because I actually ended up using the traditional controls anyways. So they released.
Have you tried using the buttons on the touchscreen?
That's what I've been using.
That's what you've been using.
Yeah, because I'm familiar with the C grip, which is what you call when you play on the PSP.
Okay.
So you know your thumb's on the joystick, and you use your finger to tap the left and right buttons on the direction pad, adjust the angle.
Dude, that's annoying.
And your hands get sore. But anyway,
See?
the 3G was extremely popular. New monsters, new ways of fighting, and all that stuff. So everyone's like, yeah. And then
Monhunt series is a very co-op game.
nevertheless, afterwards they're like, yep, now it's time for 4G. 4G has new monsters again, a completely new area for you to explore.
Maps, new areas, new monsters.
They introduce a new way to fight, which is inside water, underwater fights.
Oh, okay.
So everyone's like, yeah. Again, popular stuff. People went nuts over it. And until recently, now this is called Monster Hunter X. But I don't know what's called.
And they're releasing a new one soon?
In Australia, so I don't know. But this new Monster Hunter uses a completely new fighting system that involves special moves and all that stuff. Apparently, from the way I see it, because I haven't played it yet, but you know, the fight flow is a lot more smoother.
Okay.
It's not as clunky as, you know, back in Monster Hunter. It's like shit, roll. You know? I think it's a bit more smoother, and you know, it's got a lot of popularity. And it came around the same time the new 3DS came out as well. So, yes, double joystick. You know, he knows what I mean.
Well,
Actually, you know what? Nah, this came out the same time as the new 3DS as well, but I can't remember too well. Do correct me on that.
I can't remember which one I played specifically.
But
I think it was 4.
I think you played this one.
No, not that one. I think it was this one.
You played the one against Lagyacrus, right?
I can't even remember.
The water dragon.
I didn't have a water in my one, but maybe that's because I didn't go that far in the game.
But the Monster Hunter series is a definitely must play if you haven't played before. It's a great game for you to play with your friends. If you have like a gaming
It's a
group,
co-op game.
Yeah.
Definitely a co-op. Solo play is not that fun, in my opinion.
it's okay. You farm.
You're fun.
You farm new parts and all that stuff like we mentioned in our Vita video.
Can you
And
dig friends in the game?
You could always dig friends. But the Monster Hunter series, it's a great game. You must have a try. If you have like a gaming group with your buddies, like there's always 4 of you guys, then definitely give it a try.
So,
And
like, main bad thing about it is the controls are convoluted, but yeah, there's not much
everyone
to do about
knows
it.
that.
Everyone knows
There's
that.
nothing you can do.
Nothing you can do about Monster Hunter. But it is worth the play if you enjoy co-op games with friends.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in something like that, do give it a try. Unfortunately, I think this is all we have for 3DS at the moment, because there hasn't been much interesting titles lately. So until we see more stuff, or did you think that we missed anything? Down there,
Stick
there's
it
a
down
comment
there.
section, type it down, and then we'll know, and then next time we'll put it in our next video. But until then, do keep your heads out, and remember, stay cool and subscribe to us.
Give us a like.